Micron and SK Hynix have both become major winners from the AI boom. But the bigger investment story isn't just about who sells more high bandwidth memory today. It's about which company has built the stronger memory fortress, one that's capable of surviving the next downturn and even staying essential as computing demands keep rising. Because those AI processors, they can't do much without enormous amounts of data that's moving beside them. And the harder that data becomes to store and move, the more valuable advanced memory becomes. So this comparison is going to go far deeper than quarterly growth report. It's going to come down to manufacturing scale and even engineering knowledge in an industry that very few competitors can challenge. Well, in this video, you're going to learn what makes the memory oligopoly so durable, why Micron and SK Hynix have built different defenses, and how those advantages could give one of these stocks much more long-term value. But before we begin, if you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Rick Orford. I'm a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, been trading since 1999, and no, I'm not a financial advisor. But that's a good thing, because I'm right here with you, breaking down the numbers so retail investors like us can make smarter, more confident decisions with our money. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. And you all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by almost 6 times. Go to fool.com/RickO to get your 10 stock picks right now. All right, so a few weeks ago, I was researching Micron while actually comparing it with another company for a stock analysis. And I expected the biggest differences to really come down to revenue growth, margins, or valuation. Instead, every single report, earnings call, and industry presentation kept pulling me back to the same idea: memory. The more I dug into the research, the clearer it became that AI isn't powered by processors alone. Every breakthrough in AI computing also depends on moving enormous amounts of data. And that makes advanced memory just as essential as the processors that are performing the calculations. Now, both companies in this video have benefited from the AI boom, but the real advantages extend way beyond today's strong memory prices, because their competitive advantages took decades to build. So the real question isn't simply which company is winning right now. It's which one has the stronger memory fortress for long-term investors. Now, memory has become one of the most concentrated industries in technology because staying competitive requires far more than just designing a chip that works. I mean, think about it, right? Decades of consolidation have reduced dozens of manufacturers down to 3 dominant DRAM suppliers. You've got Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. So DRAM is the working memory, right? This is what's used in computers and data centers to access information quickly. And together, those 3 companies controlled nearly 90% of global DRAM revenue in the first quarter of 2026. And that concentration gives those leaders greater pricing discipline, even though the memory prices still rise and fall with supply and demand, right? And with fewer suppliers that are capable of expanding output, recoveries are far less vulnerable to the destructive price wars that really once defined this business. But capital is only the first barrier. Every new competitor that shows up still has to master process technology, achieve some very strong manufacturing yields, and qualify products with major customers. And by the way, yield doesn't mean dividend. It actually refers to the percentage of usable chips that's produced from each wafer. Better yields mean lower costs. And then we've got HBM, or high bandwidth memory. High bandwidth memory stacks memory chips together to move far more data closer to advanced processors, which makes it especially important for AI systems. HBM raises the hurdle because stacking, bonding, and thermal management add another layer of engineering complexity. Now, before I go any deeper, I want to give a shout out to my community. It's become one of the fastest growing investing communities right here on YouTube, and members like you talk about specific companies, what they're doing, and even options trading strategies. And best part is it's completely free to join. Just scan this QR code right here on the screen or check for the link and click it in the description. Now, going back, new competitors like CXMT and YMTC, these are continuing to grow thanks to government support, and they're becoming more of a leader in China. But even so, catching them or catching up to them is going to take much more than a few new factories. The real fortress rests on manufacturing scale, engineering knowledge, and the capacity to invest through industry cycles. Each layer is going to strengthen the next, which is why a competitor can still spend billions of dollars while remaining years away from matching the established leaders. And that matters because the next downturn probably won't be testing both companies in the same way. SK Hynix and Micron, they're going to benefit from the same industry structure, but they've chosen different ways to strengthen their defenses. SK Hynix has concentrated heavily on leading the HBM market, but Micron has built a broader portfolio across data centers, mobile devices, and automotive systems. So you've got one company that's building a taller fortress around the fastest growing part of memory, while the other is building a wider fortress across more and more end markets. Now, SK Hynix's HBM position does reflect more than a decade of development. I mean, this company has led across successive generations while expanding capacity, packaging, and production to meet these growing demands of AI. And that investment has translated into around 58% of global HBM memory, or memory revenue at least, during the first quarter of 2026. Its scale, expertise, and AI supply chain role have all made SK Hynix a huge beneficiary of the AI expansion. But Micron's strength is diversification. In the third quarter of 2026, the company generated about $14 billion in cloud memory revenue, about $11.5 billion in core data center revenue, and another $11.5 billion in mobile and client revenue. It also generated about $4.6 billion from automotive and embedded. And all this just proves that Micron isn't relying on one single market alone. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. Micron also operates across NAND and HBM, and NAND is the memory that's commonly used for long-term data storage rather than short-term working memory. And that footprint reduces dependence on one technology cycle while preserving room to expand in HBM. And long-term customer agreements covering meaningful portions of both DRAM and NAND output also improve planning visibility and may even moderate demand volatility. What does that mean? Well, the better strategy is going to depend on where the downturn starts. If AI infrastructure spending remains strong while consumer electronics weaken, well, SK Hynix's leadership in HBM should provide stronger protection. But if weakness is concentrated in one platform, well, Micron's broader customer base and products may actually prove to be more resilient because demand is spread across several markets. Now, neither approach is going to guarantee some superior returns in every environment. Specialization is going to increase exposure to the fastest growing opportunity, and diversification lowers dependence on one single category. So ultimately, the market is going to reward each company differently as conditions change. Now, if you've been watching either of these stocks, you like them, but maybe you think the price right now just a bit too high. Well, if that's the case, check this video up here, where I talk about how you can sell a put option to get paid while waiting for a stock to potentially fall to your price. Kind of like a limit order. But if it reaches that price, you buy the stock, but you got paid to buy it as well. And then, once you understand the business, you can decide whether the strategy fits the risk you're willing to take. But of course, strategy alone isn't going to be enough. The companies still have to fund their fortress. Memory leadership is going to demand some extraordinary investment because these advanced fabs require years of construction, specialized equipment, and constant upgrades. I mean, falling behind by one process generation can actually create a lasting cost disadvantage, meaning or making the cost of staying competitive a major barrier to entry. And even that actually understates the challenge. Building a state-of-the-art fabrication facility may take years, and building the manufacturing experience that's needed to run it efficiently can take decades. And Micron expect to spend about $27 billion in fiscal 2026 to expand its US manufacturing footprint. And SK Hynix is said to invest also billions of dollars in its own new fabrication plants through the end of the decade. All these commitments just prove why only the deepest pocketed companies are going to be remaining the technology leaders. But capital spending, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, CapEx is the money a company spends on long-term assets, like factories and manufacturing equipment. If every major supplier expands too aggressively, then today's moat can actually become tomorrow's oversupply. I mean, pricing can weaken even when the companies remain technologically strong. And that same spending that protects a company, it can actually hurt returns if demand fails to keep up. And factories alone still don't create a lasting advantage. Micron has built a portfolio exceeding 60,000 granted patents while investing billions of dollars every single year in R&D across DRAM, NAND, and advanced packaging. And those patents are only part of the advantage because much of Micron's expertise, it exists only as manufacturing knowledge. And SK Hynix has strengthened its engineering position through continued HBM innovation, and they become the industry's first commercial high-NA EUV installation that's intended for mass production. Now, high-NA EUV is an advanced chip-making technology that's designed to print smaller features with greater precision. And process recipes and defect control build up over decades. And those capabilities, they can't just simply be purchased and installed with new equipment. No, every single improvement in yield is going to lower production costs. And every successful HBM generation is going to add to the knowledge that supports the next generation. And of course, every customer qualification makes the supplier harder to replace. That combination of physical assets and engineering expertise is really the final wall around the fortress. Even with billions of dollars spent on modern factories, recreating decades of accumulated knowledge is still going to be far harder. Still, strong moats don't eliminate investment risk. And the first is cyclicality. Even the most disciplined suppliers can face oversupply if industry capacity expands faster than demand. And the second is demand concentration. AI infrastructure has become the main growth engine for both companies. So weaker data center spending could actually reduce pricing power across the memory market. And of course, the third is execution. Chinese competitors, they keep investing, and every new process generation does require better yields, stronger performance, and successful customer qualification. So investors shouldn't be asking whether the risk exists. The better question is which company is more capable of navigating those risks over the next decade. Now, after looking at the full picture, I think both companies have built an exceptional memory fortress. SK Hynix, they've got an incredible foundation, right? Its leadership in HBM is more than a product advantage. It reflects years of manufacturing expertise, customer qualification, and execution that have placed the company really at the center of today's AI infrastructure build-out. And those advantages all reinforce one another, making its position especially difficult to challenge. But of course, that doesn't diminish Micron's investment case. Micron's got a much bigger exposure to the memory market, and it may create more resilience if AI demand itself becomes much less concentrated or if the memory cycle turns. So the final choice comes down to what kind of protection you value the most. SK Hynix has deeper exposure to HBM, which is very important in AI, and Micron's got a broader base that could probably absorb weakness more effectively. And both companies, they benefit from an industry structure that remains extremely difficult to enter. So ultimately, this comparison isn't about which company makes the better chips. It's about which fortress you think can protect long-term shareholder value, at least effectively, as the industry evolves. But now I want to turn it over to you. Do you think SK Hynix's HBM leadership gives it the better long-term moat, or do you think Micron's diversification proves more valuable once the next downturn arrives? And before I go, did I get any of this right? Did I forget something? Let me know all of that and more in the comments below. And while you're there, if you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help others find the video. It supports the channel, and it makes sure that you don't miss out on my next deep dive. Well, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again here on YouTube or in my community. Bye for now.